specifically to target a demographic that they perceived as being a threat to society, or remember, a menace to society. You remember those terms?
Mm-hmm.
These
Yep.
were all the same terminology that they used, and I remember this because I was around. I'm almost 50 years old. I'm not a young guy
Mm-hmm.
anymore. And they pushed it so hard to where it was, I'd call it fear mongering. That's
Right.
how bad it was. And it was designed for a certain demographic, and he can deny that all he wants, and so can the Democrats. But anybody who has even, you can have one brain cell and you can figure this out yourself.
Right. Yeah. We can understand the corruption, but I think it's still hope. I don't want to just trash on everything America has, but I do feel like we got to get the corruption out. Now, when we were talking about farmland, Trev Jackson said China owns most of the farmland today, and I can see why. I can understand that, and it's a problem because now we got people that are not Americans. There, instead of us making sure we taking care of our own, now we got people from other countries that's coming in here because they got the American dollar, and now they can take control, and it's hurting all of us, white, black, brown, whatever. Trev says something where class is important. It's not about race, it's about class, because you could be black and you could be in a top class, you could be white and you could be in the bottom. You're gonna
Bottom
fit with
class.
whatever class you're in, you know.
Wherever the system has found a place for you is where you are going to be. That
Yeah.
is the whole purpose of it. That's what I'm saying. They're going to find you a place in the system. Even if you're in a position like me,
Right.
medically disabled and what's it called? Handicap. They still think, even though I'm medicated and I can fall asleep even right now talking, that I should be able to go out and work, operate machinery like I used to be able to do, working on
Right.
semi trucks, everything else. Physically, I cannot do it. Mentally, I'm still sharp, but I'm also not capable to do the same things that I was before I was injured. But the government, the system, they don't care because
Right.
they will tell you this. Even though you're not able to do anything and everything, you can still do something. We just need to find out
Yeah.
what it is.
Right. Just got to find out what it
They
is. Now
will.
you alerted me something, and I want to touch on this. You alerted me that the U.S. General issues a report calling gun violence a public health crisis. Now, I
Mhm.
think different people is gonna have different opinions on this. Okay, but I want to get your opinion first. I'm gonna give you mine. Gun violence, is it a public health crisis to you? What would you say?
I think that if you want to sharpen a toothpick on the floor, then you have an
Mhm,
assault toothpick, a shank. If you use it as that, then that's what it is. If you
mhm.
have a long rifle and use it to assault someone, now you have an assault rifle.
Mhm.
I think that what it comes down to is people that nobody should necessarily be denied their Second Amendment right to bear arms for defending themselves, their family, their country, their property, etc. And I understand where there are certain conditions, felonies, etc., that would not allow you to own a firearm, and that part is good. There are people that should not own firearms, plain and simple, whether it's because they are ex-felons, whether it's because they are not mentally stable, whether it's because that's just not the kind of guy you want to put a gun in his hand. Whatever the case may be, I'm not going to tell you that everybody should have a gun, even though it's everybody's right to have a gun. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, it's
I
everybody's right
think
to have a gun. Yeah, but
everybody
everybody
in
should
America
have a
has.
gun.
Correct.
But
I
what?
think that responsible gun owners are never the ones that give any real argument about more, oversight or more regulation or more laws, because they understand that that's not what the problem is. The problem is the wrong people getting their hands on tools that they turn into weapons and use against one another.
Right,
I
but
don't know how you.
how do we determine who are the wrong people? Because I know, listen, coming up in urban communities, right? And I'm just gonna give you my experiences being a young man, having a gun as a young man. Uh, I guess I can say because of the movies, because of probably what we seen when I first had that gun, and it gave me a sense of power, you know. I felt different, I felt
Yeah.
like, man, I don't know, that feeling just made my chest poke out a little bit more, right? And I know guys where I grew up from, when they had once they experience with guns, I think they do more and they will say more and put themselves in situations that I don't think they would have if they wouldn't have a gun. Now, does that mean guns should not be allowed? No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that we see with who guns are really affecting and the people that have guns. I'm just giving you my experience of how it made me feel. But it's a war going on in the US in the black community. I mean, every day is shots being fired, here in
They even
Florida.
stopped reporting about it in Chicago.
Right. I mean, I'm from Florida, and
Seriously.
what I'm telling you is it's not a day that goes by where a black man is not being killed, a black man is not being shot, kids are not being killed. So from me, it's definitely a crisis, but it's because of the war zone that's going on. It's like a war that we don't know about, but if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, you could die, just by a
Oh,
straight
yeah.
bullet. So I understand
There
both
was a
sides. Yeah.
s same thing like here in Kansas City. Every day, there are homicides, every day, and it goes through all demographics, but generally, I'm not seeing millionaires shoot other millionaires. You see what I'm saying? It's
Right.
it's
Right.
targeted towards certain demographics, and it's always the same story. 18th and Vine, 39th and Charlotte, it's
It's just crazy. I mean, I came up in the era to where, I mean, I didn't. I think I could say 10 years ago, I came up in an era where I see now where we got rap videos that guys, especially in Florida, like we got it to where rap guys are actually killing each other and having beefs on rap music, and they're dying, and it's like it's nobody that can stop this. The police
no.
can't stop it. The feds can't stop it. Black people can't stop it. The surgeon general can't stop it. So it's like, I don't know where to go with the gun situation. I know I want to have one for my safety, but it's just a tough situation to really, we're going to have to need everybody to stand on one accord. But I don't think all of the jails and the feds and just arresting people, it's not working. You know what I mean?
No. It's not incarceration and rehabilitation are completely different things. Anybody who's ever been incarcerated, and,
Mm,
I'm one of those guys, and I
right.
can tell you that being incarcerated is if you go in and you know, you're not on your toes, your game isn't as sharp as it should be, you're not the best criminal, that's pretty much training
Where you
to
gonna go?
become
Yeah,
a
a
better
better
criminal,
criminal.
and the
Yeah,
more a better criminal. Now the best criminals, they're not the ones locked up, they're still out here. They got a lot of them, but the ones that you need to worry about, they're not behind bars yet. At the same time, with me personally, I've had a
mhm,
gun since actually I was still living in Florida in Orlando when I got my first piece. Guy gave it to me that I worked with for my dad. It was a little
right.
22. I still got it laying around, and ever since I was, what, 13, 14 years old? Nobody gives a shit back
Wow.
then. I've always had it, and I've got plenty of guns. I'm never gonna stop buying guns or ammo. It's just not gonna happen. And, the one thing is that, I open carry, I conceal carry. It's perfectly legal in the state that I'm in, and for the most part, it's legal across the United States. In case you were not aware, the castle law is an extension of your house. You can keep a however you want to protect yourself is your right. Just make sure that you follow through and know your laws. I'm not encouraging anybody or inciting any kind of violence, but I think that if we're talking about guns and we're talking about violence, you need to be aware of what your responsibility and what your rights and what laws apply to you in your particular situation. My situation here, very cut and clear, no problems with guns. don't do anything irresponsible with them. That's the way it should be with everybody. But kind of like Rob said, how do we determine who that person is and who that person isn't?
Because I mean, if you tell me, you know what I mean, I'm gonna say I don't want to say, people in because people in the inner city needs to protect themselves, but it's just seeming like it does more damage than good, And I don't want to say,
And I think
man,
that's kind of what Trevor's saying also too, because looking at Trevor's comments here, he's kind of in the same situation that's making it more difficult because they're making it more easy.
yeah,
Right
yeah,
now, if the Surgeon General is declaring gun violence as a national health crisis, an emergency, then why did the Supreme Court, what, a week ago, allow uh, bump stocks to be legalized again? Also, they allowed silencers to be legal again. This is all throughout the United States. And in case you were also not aware of this fact, when Democrats are in office, they
right,
push the highest amount of gun laws and regulations in the world, in the
right,
US, I'm sorry.
facts,
At the
facts.
same time, they also sell more weapons than anyone else.
And this is why, like we said, it makes like what Trev Jackson said with the crime bill and everything else, it kind of plays its way. Just like, do you think violent crime contributes to population control? Like, is that something that helps the situation? Because a lot of people dying in the inner cities, they don't got a pot to piss in, but they got ammo and they got guns. But other
Guns.
than
Yep.
that, they're poor. They don't have, no home ownership, no land. They don't have anything. Like, why is that on your top priority list? And we got more people filling up these jails. So if we look at the results, we're saying that it has to be people. There definitely is people that's benefited from this, right? And there's definitely people that is hurting. But it doesn't seem like they want to stop it. It seems like this is good because I mean, in the inner city, it's mass shootings almost every day, but we don't see it. We'll
Right now.
watch the news
Right now, someone's getting shot right now. Right
three
now,
or
we're
four
having the
people
show.
are getting
Somebody's getting
shot.
shot right now. Yes, right now.
But we'll look at the news and they'll show us like, people that's getting shot at schools and say, oh, this is a mass shooting and all of this. But it is a war going on in the inner city all across the world that we kind of ignore. So, man, I don't know what
It
to,
remind
go
Do you
ahead.
remember I think it was during the second yeah, during the 2020 presidential debate, and I don't remember the exact it was somewhere in Missouri around the St. Louis area, an affluent subdivision of
Yeah.
the St. Louis area. There was a lot of protesters that went into this gated community, and the
Mhm.
community that they went in was predominantly white. Protesters happened
Right.
to be predominantly black,
Right.
and as far as class goes, their demographic was in a far lower financial class than the neighborhood that they were going and protesting at. But what happened was, and you probably remember, some of the homeowners came out on their front porch, front yard, and they had their weapons out.
Right. Wow.
But they didn't shoot anybody. They didn't, threaten to shoot anybody. But just the fact that they were willing to go to that level and step up and pull out their guns for people protesting through their neighborhood, to me, that's insane because that's
Insane.
also one of our rights.
Mm-hmm. Right. Definitely one of our rights. Yeah, to protect yourself. It's a tough one, depending on who you ask and depending on their demographic and what they're seeing. But I mean, here in Florida, it's like every guns is you can walk to the grocery store and you could probably you can be putting your groceries in your trunk and you can see somebody open their trunk and you'll see rifles. It's not, you can look at people and you can see the hip poking out. It makes you want to have a firearm because you like, man, look, I'm outnumbered, and it makes you want to make sure you got firearms. But I don't think it's gonna be. I mean, what we gonna do, kill each other? You know what I mean? I talked to a
That's
lady
what they
who,
would like for us to do.
right, I talked to a lady who came from Bahrain. It's a Middle Eastern country. And she
Mhm.
said that it's no violence over there at all. It's like it's no violence, it's people not stealing, it's people not doing. And I was shocked because I'm like, how in the world could you do that? Like if you take somebody from America and you take them to one of these countries where it's like it's no violence, no one wants to hurt their fellow countrymen. They don't want to have that. They want to show love and prosperity, and they want everybody to be doing well. And that's what I want for Americans. I want Americans to feel like that about everybody. Like we don't got to feel like everybody got to be a person that we may have to shoot. You know what I'm saying? It's
That's
like
how
we
we're
look
taking
at
it
that.
right
I'm like,
now, yeah.
yeah, it's like you could be an enemy. Like I got to be prepared because I might have to shoot you. You know what I mean? And I understand because I've been in some situations myself where I've been home invaded. I shot a guy in my house before. I mean he lived to see another day, but it's still that mentality I was in. It was just like somebody's out to get me, so I got to get them before they get me. And that's not a mentality that's good for health. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
In
I
my opinion.
the
But
the thing is that your experiences in life, my experiences in life, and possibly even Trevor's and the millions of others out there, we can relate to a lot of things and we can empathize with one another. But the other part of it is that a lot of the other people, they can't relate one bit to it at all because they're they've never had to go through any of that shit.
yeah, it's
I
foreign
remember
to 'em.
coming in as a poor
Yeah,
immigrant and being able to speak English, have a dollar or anything in my name, getting fucked with the people, and I didn't even understand why. So I get it. It's
right.
the world will either make you hard or make you soft, or it'll just keep you stupid.
Yeah, either or, right? I mean, pick one. So
But you gotta be
yeah,
able to figure it out, and Trevor's got it figured out because he understands what's going on.
and that's why we need more independent media. That's why I really, take pride to on making sure I had these talks and trying to push this out because we need more of independent media and guys that's really truly speaking the truth and talking about this because it just seems like the same cycle is keep happening and we not having these talks to really invoke change. And that's what I really want to see. I want to see change for the better for America, man. I don't want to see killings every day. And, I'm afraid to go out past 11, 12 o'clock without my firearm because, it may be a shootout and, somebody may want to do something to me. It's just not, that's not a place where you want to raise a family, in conditions like that. You know what I mean?
100%. And could I share a quick story, Rob?
Yeah, go ahead.
Last year, this was in May, it was Memorial Day weekend. I had my surgery on my leg. It was in end of March. So by May, I was walking ish, able to move around. I was able to walk and move around. I had a customer, a longtime customer of mine, call me, and her daughter and some of her friends had gone down to Chicago for the Memorial Day weekend. They had never been there before. And as Murphy's Law would have it, their vehicle broke down on them. Now, I've known the lady for 10, 15 years.
Right.
Great lady, love her to death. Love her children, both of them, Marcellus and Amanda. Uh, and uh, great kids, great kids. So she calls me up. She tells me what the situation is. I'm not working on cars anymore at this point. I'm injured. I'm not really able to do a whole lot. But what I did do was I got a trailer. I hooked it up to my truck. I drove to Chicago, and they were staying right off of Champlain. It was Piru neighborhood, which
Hmm.
was yeah, it was funny because I had my Trump hat on and big white boy
Right.
walking around sleeved up, but it didn't bother me. I don't care. It doesn't bother me at all. And I go to tell the story before, or I was telling my wife what I was doing before I left, and she goes, "You go where? Pick up who? Are you crazy? You know what they're doing in Chicago?" Blah, 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 blah." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not worried about it. It's okay. I lived in Skokie, Illinois. I'm not. It's gonna be fine." And I go down there, and gunshots all throughout the night, nonstop.
Wow. Yeah.
Nonstop.
Wow.
And demographically speaking, it was interesting, and I'm glad that, and it doesn't matter. I don't care what color anybody is. You can be green, purple, doesn't matter. I don't care what color you are. This customer of mine, my friend, she happens to be white, but her children are mixed, which
Black.
makes no difference to me. And
Yeah.
then the other kids that I don't even know, they had to be homosexuals. So I'm driving around homosexuals all over the place. And I actually took them back to Columbia, Missouri, took the car back here, had it taken care of for them. I'm not a hero. I'm not patting myself on the back or toot my horn, but I'm just saying that Chicago is as bad as they say it is. And there's a reason they don't report on it anymore because it's gotten even fucking worse.
Worse. Yeah. Definitely. I can understand that. So, all right, we got our politics out of the way. Now, we're going to transition into the LeBron James. This has been a big topic. A lot of people are.
Make sure you get your free water test at Envirely.com. Here we got Mr. Pollock. He had a cornfield. He took advantage of a free water test from us, and this is what we found in this water. We found sulfur, we found hardness, and we solved these problems with an easy fix of 2 tanks. So get your free water test today. Stay blessed. Click the link below.